we prepared a show that was a little bit different. After discussing it, Brittany and I wanted to put out something that was a little bit more timely in relation to kind of what's going on in the US in the business community specifically. And I think that instead of talking about how to prepare for marketing growth and business growth, I think something that I really want to focus on is more about preparing for business resiliency, because I think a lot of people in the business community right now especially are probably unsure what to do right now. I know that many businesses, it's a very high statistic, rely on imports and exports in the United States. I know that business owners are very concerned about consumer sentiment and also demand. And so one thing that we really wanted to touch on today was, what are some things that we can do immediately to promote business resiliency and really make sure that your business is positioned the best that it can be in a time of uncertainty. So I want to give some helpful tips and tricks. And Brittany, feel free to chime in immediately. And we've got some exciting programming for today. So in terms of business resiliency, there are a couple things I want to almost take it. I want to pull an Ina Garten and take it back to basics, essentially. And what I mean by that is really getting down on paper what it is your business today is doing to get customers, to get sales from existing customers, to get people further into your funnel of offerings, essentially. And so today I really wanted to take us through what's called the customer value journey. This is a popular notion in marketing overall. And I think that this is single-handedly one of the best and first things I always do with clients to understand what is it that they really need in their marketing mix in order to get the customers that are out there and the customers that are receptive to their offerings if they're not already looking for them. So essentially, I want to take us down the path of customer value journey, and we'll provide some graphics and also a download in this particular episode. So overall, with the customer value journey, what we're hoping to do is get ideas put on paper and also a whole list of everything that we're already doing as a company, essentially to promote our marketing and get more customers. So the first thing that any business needs to do is make sure that we have some awareness around what our business does.
Yeah. Do people know about you, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you need that.
Exactly. Do we need that? And this is actually an area in the journey that usually has the most items filled out on the list as far as what a business does to make customers aware of us.
Right.
And so I definitely want to go through some examples of that. Definitely with Brittany. She's got a lot of awesome examples that we have clients working on. But what I want to give you some inspiration to do even during this episode or after this episode is write it all down and really see what actions is your business taking to get that awareness. And sometimes I see that businesses aren't doing enough in the awareness category. And sometimes I actually see that some businesses are doing too much in the awareness category. Yeah. And it's actually taking them a lot of time to get through some of these things that actually aren't moving the needle. So I think that there's going to potentially be an opportunity for you to either increase how much awareness you're putting out there and where you're putting out promotion, or actually decrease some of the awareness output as a business owner that you're putting in that's not yielding ROI.
So one example that I talk about a lot, and what I see a lot of businesses, is organic social media. So really putting a lot of resources into that, a lot of time, maybe it's money by boosting posts, and really what are they getting as far as ROI from that? Not much. It is incredibly important to stay top of mind. This is a good marketing channel, but I feel like instead of, in the different phases of the customer value journey that can really be more profitable for them, they end up taking too much time there, or maybe they're spending too much on a print ad, or just whatever that may be. I think that just being more strategic and where to put your time and money and resources. And the customer value journey is just incredibly helpful at just pointing that out and really understanding what my marketing's doing right now and how can it get better? Where are those leaky holes, right?
We want to identify where are the leaky holes in the boat, essentially.
Going back to basics. That starts with the customer value journey.
So I think to add on a little bit to what Brittany was saying about organic social. So in this case, that's working on like Facebook posts for your business page. What we've seen as an agency is essentially 0.01% of your followers that you may have worked hard for to get, to like your Facebook page or to like your Instagram page. They're not seeing that content as regularly as they should be because these social media platforms have gone so pay to play. They want businesses to pay for people to see those posts. So yes, it's a helpful touch point, but sometimes what we find is that if you're not going to be consistent in organic social media, it typically doesn't yield the ROI we're always looking for.
Yes.
So some examples too. So that's an awareness phase or an awareness place that we find that maybe we can cut a little bit of. LinkedIn is a completely different animal. There's a lot more awareness and engagement going on LinkedIn from an organic side.
Yes.
TikTok's a lot more engaging as well from an organic side. So it depends on what social media channels we're talking about. But in terms of Facebook specifically, I know that that's a lot, like a lot of businesses had worked on their Facebook. And I know that, over the years, we've kind of pivoted away as an awareness tactic.
And don't get me wrong, if you're a restaurant, right, that's probably an Instagram devoting, time to that. Every business is different
Absolutely.
too. And so a restaurant probably wouldn't, it's not business to business, so maybe LinkedIn just wouldn't work, and really just kind of finding those. But speaking on awareness, what would be one of the first awareness things you would do for your business?
So if it's something that people know, so for instance, like if I'm a tailor or if I'm a digital marketing agency potentially or a plumber, if somebody is looking for your business and knows to search for your type of business, then I typically say that Google's a good place to make sure that we have a prioritized presence. So what that means is I might start Google Ads before I start SEO. SEO is, again, organic. Yep. So it's in line with that, but it's slower. It's a lot slower versus Google Ads is you're right up at the top right away. If I'm promoting a product or a service that the general public may not be as privy to, or if it's something that's for a specific industry, we might need to push with awareness on a social media channel or a video channel specific like YouTube or Reddit or TikTok ad. It depends really on what our personas are, but also what type of product essentially. But we need to make sure that people even know that we exist before we're able to get customers. So awareness is all about your first touch point. And then the next part of the customer value journey is essentially engage. What are we doing as a company to get engagement with potential audience we're interested in? Are we putting out any content marketing? Are we putting out any blogs or helpful videos for our potential customers to get to know us, like us, and trust us?
Yeah.
What kind of things are we doing so that they can engage with us online? Is it videos? Is it social media? Is it blogs? What are we doing to promote engagement online so people can get to know us online? I suggest your company write out those things that you're doing online to then engage. Additionally, the next part of the journey is how do we get people to subscribe to our business? How do we form that formal connection with our customer base? So as an example, how are we getting them to sign up for our newsletter? Do we have any perks?
Right.
Do we have any reasoning? Like what do we want to set that expectation?
Yeah. What are we giving them in order to get their information?
Exactly.
Right. So you got to give them something. Maybe it's, a one paper, or maybe it just depends on your business too. There's so many different ways of doing that, but just promoting like, here's the reason why you want to give us your information. One thing we did for a client was a quiz. Right. So really needed to go the education route with this type of service. And so what better than to do a fun quiz, right? And figure out something that's, right for that specific person, capturing their email. Boom, you got, you can either get them to book or you have at least people on a nurture list and that you can follow up with and, hopefully then go and convert.
Yep. So how are we getting that important contact information from our clients? Because in reality, that's one of the toughest things that we need to focus on is getting their contact info so that we can reach back out and offer them additional offers and sales and whatnot.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, a quiz opt-in.
Grassroots. So, if you're at, maybe you're at Bridal Expo, maybe you sell, wedding dresses. And so you're at a bridal expo, right? You should make it for one, easy. Always make it easy for somebody to sign up. So maybe that's a QR code on an iPad or something, and they just go and sign up, whatever that is. And there's lots of different tools and resources to help business owners with that. That we're always happy to share with our clients, but really just figuring out where can we get their information, but give them value as well.
Yep.
So there's really, the sky's the limit on
How do we
that.
exchange value, essentially, is that first thing that we're trying to accomplish. So making it easy for you to collect email addresses, phone numbers, contact information in all different ways. So we may do a quiz. We may have a promotion at the front desk. We may have part of our intake process for services is getting their contact information, having a white paper download potentially. Those are all ways that we can get customer contact information, because as a business, we want to try to help control some of the narrative so that we can remind customers that we're still out there. The subscribe phase is essentially really, really important. And a lot of times an offer is what's needed in order to get it. So sometimes businesses will do things like, give us your email and you'll get 10% off your first purchase.
Right.
That's referred to as an ethical bribe. Yes.
Yes.
But the business now can email you, get in touch with you, and let your customers know about potential sales. So if you're not collecting contact information, and this is an area that I do see a lot of business owners kind of forget this piece, but it's important because we want to be able to reach back out.
Yeah, and actually, and expanding on that, Darci, that brings up a good point, is that, okay, why are we doing this? Typically to either call or do SMS marketing or email marketing, because it is one of the cheapest ways. Because as small, medium business owners, you're not Fortune 500 companies. You don't have an infinite amount of ad spend. So what can you do that will just benefit your business in the future, and do it as cost effectively as possible? That's what I'm always trying to figure out with my clients, is how can we get as much bang for our buck? And that's where like our PPC managers come in, where they go and they are always trying to figure out how to get as many leads or purchases, conversions as possible for the least amount of money. That's why you really use a digital agency. The reason why we want this info, why you want it, is to control that narrative, to reach back out in a cheaper way, so you're not having to acquire all of these through paid media sources. Or
the most, like, the first conversion, the first sale is always going to be the most expensive sale to get that customer. So we have to remember that as a business, the way that we're going to profit typically is through that second purchase, that third purchase.
Yes, so lifetime value.
Yeah.
Lifetime value. LTV.
Yes.
LTV, baby. Okay, that's what you have. LTV. Yeah.
Lifetime value. Essentially, that's what that stands for.
Yeah.
So this is really where the specifics of your business are really going to come in. This step, the devil's in the details on this one. So we really need to think of creative ways to delight and excite our customers and want them essentially coming back and and purchasing more from us.